Well, good morning, Brew Crew. I'm Eric, N1JUR, and I'm with.
I'm Shannon, KC1OHT here in the US or 2 Echo Zero Oscar Hotel Tango in the UK.
There you go. Well, good morning, and yeah, hopefully you guys will let me know in the chat if my audio is annoying or not, because once again the Gremlins have decided to come and invade my computer for whatever reason. So we've been battling that in the background while just slowly easing into this morning's Brew and Activate. So if you're watching live, say hello in the chat. I already see a few folks in there. Who do we got this morning so far? Just starting our early run here.
I only see Tortoise, Roger, and us. Oh, I see
Uh,
Prep Ham Paul is in my chat because the
cool.
video went live when you published it, but with no thumbnail. So,
Uh,
the
well, I'll send you
gremlins
the
are
thumbnail so you can
everywhere.
update it.
Well, I'm not going to do that now. But anyway, hi, Prep Ham Paul. Efficient, lazy, either way, it's more than I did.
Oh, which okay, we'll leave it at that one. Um, all right. Oh well, I assume he's alluding to the topic today. So yeah, we'll get into that. All right. Well, hey, if this is your first time here this morning, welcome. You're officially part of the Brew Crew. So let's just do a quick let you know what's going on. Again, this is Brew Crew. This is a place where we talk about all real world POTA, everything, wins, the slow days, the weird stuff, and lessons you only learn by doing. So if you only activate or hunt or you're POTA curious, then heck, you're in the right place this morning. With that, we got a couple things housekeeping wise. We just want to keep you updated on. Slow news day, I would have to say. Otherwise, so as always, we have this show on podcast format. So if you're maybe like Prep Ham Paul and you're in the flying the friendly skies and you're looking for a great episode podcast to listen to, download Brew and Activate from any one of your podcast players that you use and give us a listen. And as always, you can always head over to our storefront at livefreeandham.com/shop and pick out any of the cool merch that we've got over there at the storefront. Shannon's been busy creating new things and using all of that creativity she's got bundled in that head of hers and making some pretty cool things there. And so it's motivated me a little bit, and I'm starting to bring in she's already sharing stuff, so I'll let her take the controls there. And
No, I was gonna say, if you're gonna mention the
well,
new
go
merch,
ahead.
then we
Well,
might as well show the shirt, the latest and greatest that I came up with.
well,
Uh,
there you go.
you know, keep calm and POTA on for, all those Anglophiles out there like myself. And our little motto at the end is POTA on. So it kind of works both ways, right?
It does. Yep.
So I came up with that last week or a week and a half ago, threw it on a t-shirt, and it has a sweatshirt version too. And
Long
I
sleeve too, as well.
well,
She's
yeah,
not in the chat though.
that's the sweatshirt version. So
Oh, okay. So that covers that. Got
yeah,
it.
yeah. So there's a sweatshirt and a short sleeve, and I can't wait to order one. I actually need to, get together another order so I can do like a little bulk order.
Yeah, very cool.
But
Very
there is
cool.
one more shirt that I was gonna come up with, and somebody from the PokeNet actually inspired this. Um, they said something about like they had a fever, and so I came up with I have a fever, and the only cure is
Here
more
is the
POTA.
POTA. That one's a long
So
one. You're gonna have to blend that one into the shirt somehow.
so I gotta come up with that.
Very
Maybe
cool.
put like I've got a fever, and then on the back put the cure is more POTA. We'll see.
Yeah,
The
well,
wheels
there you
are
go.
turning.
There's only so much real estate and so little time to put something together. So yeah, get on that one. So yeah, she's been doing some really cool things over there at the store. I will, hopefully get off my butt and finish off the few designs that have been submitted to me, and we've brainstormed in previous Bruin activates. So yeah, well, those are coming soon. So there's that. And then the only other thing we got, just kind of want to catch up. We're gonna pop this off here. Is we've got also tonight our wonderful happy hour over at Northeast Ham Radio. Mike, who N2MAK, has been super creative with his AI thumbnails there, and I think this is one of his best so far of all the POTA, Northeast Ham Radio crew there. So we're all just hanging out. Yeah, we'll be over there 7 o'clock tonight. Check that out. I'll post the link there in the Discord if you want to go over and hang out with us that evening. So here we go. Throw that in the Discord. Why not? There we go. So yeah, we'd love to have you come join and party with us. And I don't know what the heck we're talking about. It's just kind of a typical happy hour. Who knows where it will go, right?
Do we ever talk about anything?
Well, the only thing we guarantee is talk about ham radio. I think that's that's a must. But
Do we ever talk about ham radio?
we always do. I mean, we try to make that at least the front and center, discussion topic no matter what. And then we just, rabbit hole and squirrel and rat hole everywhere else. So yeah, no, it's very much, a show that you will get your entertainment fill, no doubt. All right, let's pop up over here back to our view here. But yeah, so that's some stuff going on with us and Brew and Activate as well. And so with that, hopefully, I don't know, you've been doing any of the 5-2 challenge at all?
No.
No? Wow. Well, I don't know. I'm just going to leave that there. We'll let the audience decide how your fate is going to be. But with that,
we need a little clip.
My audio files are all out. I've been doing the 5-2 challenge so far. Day almost 19. I think day 19 because today's the 20th, so I'm always a day behind by the calendar. So yeah, having fun with it. It's definitely interesting. I had my first failure 2 days ago where I got no contacts at all. So, I know I was on a roll, batting 1,000, and I thank everybody who obviously responded back, but they redeemed themselves and they redeemed me. Yesterday I ended up getting 3 contacts in the log and even a relay, which I didn't get the call sign and fully, so can't quite count that one to add to my log. But yeah, I've been doing the 5-2 challenge. So if you're maybe just hearing about this, head over to Mike's channel, Mike's N2MAK's channel. He is put out a 5-2 challenge where we just get out and make noise on 5-2. And have fun and, bring RF back again to, the calling frequencies. And if 5-2 is not a place that's super active in your area, try a different calling channel. There's plenty of them out there. Let's just put some RF out there and make some noise on all of the bands that we have as ham radio operators. And let's try to make some contacts. So, yeah, looking forward to today, too, as well. It's going to be pretty interesting. All right. Okay.
What I did do though. Do we want to talk about like our ham radio week?
Well, we don't really do a ham radio week on the show, but yes, please. I mean, you've been super busy, and give me a chance.
Since this show is POTA related,
focused, it kind of goes hand in hand.
That I would share, the viewers will probably be happy to know, and especially Tortoise, who's in the chat, that Miles did his first POTA activation on Sunday. Yay!
Awesome. Woo-hoo!
So there was a contest, a Youth on the Air contest for our IARU Region 1 on Sunday from 10 a.m. until 10 p.m. And so the only thing is that he couldn't use my call sign because in agreeing to do the YLWWA event, apparently I agreed to not use my call sign in any contests during the event period. So he had to use a club call, which was fine. So someone allowed him to use the club call of K1SSN, which I probably could have used the GSARA club call too, because I am a member of GSARA.
And you could have used the official Whiskey One Live Free and Ham call sign. You have full access to that one anytime.
Yeah,
so
yeah. So I have a wide range of calls that he could have used. So, but we used K1SSN, and he did all the activating basically on his own. I spotted him on the POTA page. I logged for him. Obviously, I
Wow.
had to write down what I wanted him to say for CQ. But he called his own CQ youth on the air. He gave his name, his age, and his location. And his very first contact that came back to him was a station in England. So the very first contact that came back to him
Of course.
was a DX station. It was Golf 4 Bravo India
That's
Papa.
awesome.
And so he was so excited. I actually have a little video where he's like, "Yee!" You know how kids do
Wow.
that.
Yep.
And
Yep.
and then, like the other day, we were driving home from school or driving to school or something. He was like, Mama, I wish I could do a POTA activation. And I was like, what, you can. We can do that anytime you want, child. And then he said, because you know how much I love DX. I
Yeah,
was
no
like,
kidding.
wow, I have created a little monster, I think.
Hmm. Hey,
So
there's nothing wrong with it.
I need to get him the handbook from Ham Study because I think he would do better with like an actual, like physical book that maybe we can kind of go through some of the concepts, not just studying the answers to the questions, but hopefully we can get him his technician license maybe before the end of the year. We'll have to
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, very cool. Well, I would say, I don't usually tote any specific clubs per se licensing class, but there's one up in the Nashua area that I would say for a Zoom class, 3 days. My daughter took it and had studied nothing prior, has no electronics background, and I mentioned before, and she got her technician ticket and did it in a weekend. They tested her right there after the session, and they have a lot of kids, young kids, roll through there too. So that might be something you might want to look into for the time frame. That way, he doesn't have to spend hours studying and getting frustrated after a while. It might be quick to slam it in and get him his ticket. Well, Mike, I would like a half calf latte twist with 18 ounces of sugar and a little coffee, but a lot of cream.
And I'll have a large iced coffee with 4 milk and 4 sweet and low. So
Sweet and
yeah,
low. That causes cancer, right?
this POTA runs on Duncan. And so I was actually laughing at what Tortoise said. Very cool. Let's go get him on the air. Keep shovels out of
How to
reach.
reach. Yes.
Listen, you gave him the shovel, Tortoise. I'm just saying.
He's
You
an
can't blame
enabler.
me for
He's an
that one.
enabler. We
Yes.
know that.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, I don't want him to get frustrated, but he is only 7 years old. He is extremely intelligent. He can, read, he can spell. I'm not sure how good his concentration and his memory is going to be for, remembering all the stuff that you need to know for technician. But, worst case scenario, he can always use the radio under supervision, using my call or a club call, so
Keep him radioactive is what I say.
yes, yes, get him started being radioactive at least.
Yeah, very cool. David, that's awesome. I was hoping one day he would get the little bit of the bug, and Mama would say, "Sure, you can come over and sit next to me and run the POTA event here," and it has happened. So we can all move on and know that maybe our next 24-hour POTA for Live Free and Ham, we'll have a mom and son duo commanding the airwaves.
Well,
So
and I had this idea that I could, rebrand my YouTube channel as All in the Hamily, and we would be a family of hams.
there we go. You got a lot on your plate, girlfriend. That the YL monthly, party, hangout, videos, traveling. My gosh. All right, cool. Well, hey, if you want to keep this conversation going, which we always love to do, you can always head over to our Discord, and that link is in the chat below. We'd love to have you over there. If you haven't been over there, please, come join us, hang out. We got a channel over there called Brew and Activate. And we always have some great conversation, both in that channel and everywhere else. I mean, Grouch hangs out there, Tortoise hangs out there, Shannon, myself, everybody, including the Live Free and Ham family. So yeah, love to have you over there. Come be a part of that and check it all out. All right. Well, with that, I always like to throw this out, but I don't do it every week. This live stream always tries to stay ad free, and it's because obviously of your help and your support. So super chats, memberships are always helpful in keeping us motivated and moving forward. And continuing to deliver some really cool stuff to you guys. So for those that definitely have had support in the past, we appreciate all that, as well as those that heck, if you can't support the channel directly, head over to our partners. Check out Reliance Antenna, Mad Dog Coils, Spool Antenna. All those guys have discounts that you can get some money off on those products. So maybe if you're looking to pick up another Reliance antenna, head on over to n1jur.com/discounts, and you'll find all of my discount codes over there, and get yourself some, a little bit of saves on the next antenna or parts you might buy or whatever. And it definitely helps all of our small ham radio, family businesses, and keeps them going and providing us great products. So. And thanks to all of them for obviously help supporting us. All right. With that, we got any? Let's do a little quick roll call, see who else has shown up. We've had a few more numbers rolling here this morning. A little slow for Friday, but that's totally fine. Who else we got new?
We got this ADHD Life. We got W3PEW. We got Country James. We got Mike N2MAK. We know. Let me see. Who else do we have? Down in my chat, we got Bingo, JMKD2UDR. We got Ham Without a Plan. Yeah, we got a good little crew. Some different people that I feel like we don't see all the time. So
Yep. Yeah, apparently ADH Life, I don't know if you popped that up there. He's on the wrong show. I didn't know Stew and Activated was another alternative. Sounds interesting if you're hungry. I've already eaten breakfast, so you have to wait till the lunchtime hour for Stew and Activate.
Well, it's like, that could be my channel. I love my crock pot and my instant pot. So I could just be like a combination of homesteading, tanks, ham radio, family blogger.
You can
We'll
do
just
3D
throw
printing
everything.
and print 3D tank parts for your crock pot. How about that?
Wow, my how much I love to knit. Okay, we're going so
No, I
far
did not
off
know
the
that.
track right
Oh
now.
boy.
So I love to knit. I am actually right now working on knitting a tank tea cozy. I kid you not. This is a thing. Let me see. How do I change my screen share? I
Yeah,
think
just
I have to stop
re-add it.
and redo it.
Well, while you're doing that, there is a request in the chat to push the YL show. So, get on that.
Yes,
Let's head over.
yes. I know. I will.
Let's
I just
jump over the
I
screen
need
share
I
here.
need to. So
Okay.
this is my latest project. I am knitting a tank tea cozy. So
Do they
if you don't
need
know what a
them?
tea what?
Do the tanks need a tea cozy?
It's it's for your teapot at home. But did you
well,
know
there I.
that British tanks did actually have an apparatus inside them to boil water that they use to make tea?
No,
I
I
I
did not.
swear, I
I don't feel
swear
any
they did.
smarter after learning that either. But
Listen, you should learn something new every day.
I do. Every time you're on the show, Shannon, I learn something new. Some things I just don't want to store in my brain. There's just not room for it. And this is one of them.
Listen, but someday that's gonna come up. It'll be like in trivia, right? You'll be having bar trivia, and they'll be like, "Did British tanks have an apparatus to make tea inside? Yes or no?" And you'll be like, "Shannon told me that was true."
Well, first and foremost, if it's a yes and no question, it's a 50-50, and I can guess probably very easy. If it's multiple choice, maybe we might have a little tougher time. But then I will try to recall from deep, dark areas of my brain that said, oh, yeah, Shannon mentioned this. Until then, we're going to fill it with more ham radio. All right. Well, tea cozies,
So if you
be
too would like
gone.
a tank tea cozy, I might take commissions, but they'll have to be sort of expensive because they're hand knit by me, right? So, and they take
Yes,
time, and I
with
gotta sew
love.
it together. Yes, everything that I make is made with love in every stitch.
don't say it out too loud because in essence, I think if you say tank a couple more times, somewhere along the line he might appear, and you might have to make him one. Which your choice.
Who? Frank
Tank
from Tank
radio.
Radio?
Tank radio.
Listen, I am very good friends with Frank from Tank Radio, and I'm trying to get him to come to Massachusetts, to come to the American Heritage Museum and tour the tanks and do a video with me. So, Frank, Tank Radio, if you are out there listening, reach out, man. You know where to find me on Discord.
Hmm. Here we go. There's another segment outside of your She Shack Random Tank Facts by KC10HT. Talk about running down a rabbit hole with this show. Well, eventually, we're in our third hour here. We're almost ham radio workbench, level.
Listen, if I could probably talk more tanks tonight.
You probably will, I'm sure. Which, those that just joined in a little later, yeah, we're over on Northeast Ham Radio tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but head over to any one of our channels, Mike's, Shannon's, myself, and check out the live stream there, the links there, and we'll throw it back in the Discord in a bit, or I'll actually post over the Discord, but we'll throw it in here now. So since those that are joining late there and you're just sipping your coffee and you're looking for something to jump on later tonight, yeah, we're over on Northeast Ham Radio. So, all right, cool. Now that I'm very distracted with this whole
So
tank
now that we're
thing.
completely off of topic, somehow we got from miles to tanks.
Yeah, see the connections? I do.
I swear they connected in my brain.
somewhere they are. All right, well, with that, let's just go to the POTA Minute. All right, this is the POTA Minute. One small POTA idea, one real-world observation, and about 60 seconds. That's all I'm giving you guys, just to get you thinking. So, again, no right answers, just stuff to you start noticing after a few activations or a few hundred hunts. Maybe, heck, if this has happened to you, let me know in the chat. Or maybe if you do it differently, let us know as well. So with that, let's get to the POTA Minute. So this POTA Minute's called Familiarity. I can say that word right. Beats features. And so I'm going to say the radio you know well will outperform a radio you don't. Being comfortable changing bands, modes, and settings without thinking makes everything smoother. The best upgrade in my mind is confidence. No, it's not happening. Nothing. Come on, that's a profound thought. Anyway. Yeah, we all know, and Shannon and I have talked about it with the 24-hour POTA. There were 4 other guys standing around a DX10 going, I don't know, how do you make it work? And, this is a perfect example of just that.
Like, boop, 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 boop.
Exactly. Come over here, gentlemen. I'll show you how to be ham radio operators.
I wouldn't go quite that far, but yes.
You should, especially with this bunch.
When I'm using a new radio and I don't feel confident, then that translates to my on the air, voice and abilities.
It does, 100%. There is definitely a confidence builder piece. If you know it's like getting in front of a new vehicle and not understanding how all of the functionality works, and while you're being a driver and you're a little nervous.
And then you accidentally put it in reverse, and you meant to put it in drive, and you
drive
back into somebody else's car.
I haven't had that experience. It's just a friend that you're just sharing. So, yeah, hopefully that helps, and maybe you're kind of trying to figure your radio out. Well, then spend a little time, snuggle in, grab a cup of coffee, sit in front of the radio, play with the features, get to know your radio, and it'll serve you well, and you'll definitely be able to run those activations much better with more confidence. So. All right. With that, let's dive into today's topic. We've got an interesting one today that I'm just kind of going through my list of brainstorming ideas and stuff like that. And I promise you that all of these small little weird, we'll say squirrel run, rabbit trails that we're going down, are all building up to some bigger topics. And and deeper and wider. So, for today, this week, we're gonna, as the thumbnail alluded, we're gonna talk what I'm gonna call micro activations. I mean, I may have shared in previous episodes and other, live streams and stuff like that I usually have about like 30 minutes in my day doing, my job, driving around and when the weather's warmer, I'll usually want to get out and activate. And, that's like a 30-minute, 20-minute kind of time frame that I have to myself. So instead of me just kind of sitting in a parking lot, eating lunch and surfing the web on my phone, why don't we, put it to good use and start doing, an activation. And, so I'm probably like a lot of you guys already here on the chat. Yeah, what is a real job, Bob? I don't know. When I figure that one out, I'll let you know. That, you pull up the POTA spotting page there and say, oh, well, this next park is about 5 minutes away. Let's, head on over there and start doing the activation. And so we're going to talk about why micro activations seem to be growing. I find as I pop on the spotting page and look at activators that are out there, yeah, they pop on for a little bit and then go away. And they may be doing roves, they may be doing a whole bunch of different things, but in essence, they're very much a targeted kind of activator. And so we're going to dive into a little bit of that and talk about, why is this starting to happen? What some of the real reasons around it? Hopefully shedding some light on it. And I'm curious if you guys in the chat, let me know as we kind of go through this, is this something you kind of, have tried yourself, or maybe you do in your own activations? What's your experience with it? Because I'm always curious. Shannon, now I guess with this, you're not the micro activation kind of gal operator, right?
No.
You're there for the long duration marathon versus the sprint.
Oh, yeah. That's like, so on Women's Day, I think Miles asked me, like, how long is it going to take to get 10 contacts? And I was like, we're not just getting 10 contacts. We're staying here for a long time. And then so on Sunday, when he did his activation, he got 17 contacts.
Oh, wow. Okay. How long was that?
We stayed out for about an hour.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, and that was
it was a slow day that day. We were on 15 meters. I think it was. Oh yeah, because it was a contest, so he couldn't go on 17, and I don't like 20. So we were on 15 meters, and the band was pretty dead. So I think he was getting a little bored because he was calling CQ and like stations weren't coming back to him that quickly. So then I could tell that his attention was sort of waning. But I don't know. I don't know how to do a quick activation. Like if I'm getting contacts that quick enough that I get, 10 contacts in 10 minutes or even 10 contacts in 20 minutes, it's like that means that I probably have a pile up. And that means that then I don't want to just go QRT when I still have stations calling me. No station left behind, no contact left behind.
Yeah, Joe actually posted there in the chat.
That's like, I'm pretty sure Paul did that to me when we were at like Robert Frost and stations were still coming back to us. And he's like, okay, time to go, Shannon. And I was like, no.
Now, see, Joe actually chimes in here. He says, it's, he has a park that's 10 minutes away from him. He does a POTA on his lunch break. And if you don't get 10, you come back after work, which is actually a brilliant, smart idea, because in essence, if it's that close away, it's like, yeah, I'll just put a pin in it. I'll come back and still work it in the, Zulu day, and no harm, no foul. It actually might work to your benefit there. So that's kind of one example, I think, of these micro activations being, something of a little bit more popularity versus the tried and true, let's tough it out till the very end, or like, let's just keep going because I can't leave the last starfish on the beach kind of thing. I have to throw them back in the ocean. So everybody gets a contact from Shannon or whoever. Let's pull up some of our usual slides here and kind of dive into the topic a little bit more. So yeah, this is a very interesting kind of, point, is that like a lot of these times we're seeing lunch break activations, 15, 20-minute runs. Joe is a perfect example of that. I'm sure others in the chat too as well may run into that. They may be doing digital only activations. I've been seeing a lot of an uptick watching the POTA spots page with, mid-afternoon, kind of digital runs and people being on FT8 or FT4 or the new FT2. And to be honest, it kind of makes sense because we all lead busy lives. I mean, I don't know about you. I say this several times over and over again. It's always something that's got my attention. There's always something I got to do, whether it's work or for the channel or for just my hobby. And so, honestly, it really kind of makes sense because the fact that we're busy, the fact that we've got our attentions everywhere, not everybody has the benefits to sit at a full afternoon at a park, which would I love to? Yes, but I have a feeling if I sat there, I'd be also like, oh yeah, I've got to go do this. Oh yeah, I've got to go do this, and all of these things start to kind of take all of my thoughts and focus away from having the activation. But if I do at least something like a 20-minute activation, I could see how I still get to get that high a little bit and that fun radio activation, and I still got the chance to say I played POTA because I don't know about you, Shannon, but have you seen, and we might see it tonight on Northeast Ham Radio, like we go around and ask how everyone what'd you play with ham radio, and the response goes, oh, I didn't play ham radio this week. It's like, okay, but like if you had maybe done a 20-minute activation out of your day to break things up, it might have been different, or a call on 5-2 for 10 minutes, kind of thing, and just really kind of open things up, to integrating radio into your life is kind of where I'm going with this a little bit. So I kind of sit well with you. You still okay with this concept, Shannon?
I mean, there's definitely been weeks where I didn't play any ham radio. I mean, a lot of the winter, I didn't do very much ham radio, except for maybe, I always do my little PokeNet, right?
Mhm.
That keeps me active in the ham radio.
Does.
So, but in terms of going out and doing POTA activations, yeah, I mean, if it's like incredibly cold or snowy or wet or whatever, even if I'm just, doing it from the car. Now, if I was using the ATOS and I didn't have to like get out of the car and adjust the antenna and do any of that, then, yeah, sure, I could do drive-by POTA activations all day, every day, no matter what the weather. But since I don't have, that antenna is just not, bonded and grounded really well. It's you know, there's been plenty of times where I haven't done any HF
Oh,
activity.
and that's okay. But at the same time, hey, it might be something as you get breaks in your schedule, or whatever, to kind of think about optimizing some of those things on the antennas, and or maybe coming up with a quick deployable ham stick solution that you can easily in 2 minutes plug into a radio and go kind of thing. And I'm always kind of thinking around those lines because yeah, there are times, like you said, that you'd love to stop and do an activation, but there is a long process and there's stuff involved to be able to make it all happen. And by the time you got it all set up, you're already like 20 or 30 minutes in, kind of thing. So it's funny because one of the things that kind of came out of this was like, is it efficient operating, or is it just feeling like a whole bunch of drive-by contacts, like ham radio operators kind of throwing their call out on a repeater and then not hearing anything for 5 seconds and then going off to the next repeater, and you find that as you're scanning the bands, you hear this one contact. He doesn't stay on the repeater for any length of time to have someone respond back to him, and kind of doing that drive-by approach. The drive-by approach, I think, for me, feels a little insensitive kind of things because it's more contest kind of focused and less interpersonal, fun activation, feel the experience, be part of the outdoors kind of thing, which is lost in that process. But, what's your thoughts on it? I mean, do you think, is this efficient operating, or could we just toss it out with the bathwater, as they kind of say?
You know,
Um,
it's
Go ahead.
like I want to say, you know, and we hate this answer. We love to hate this answer, right? That it depends. It's
Hmm.
like ham radio is a hobby and you can do ham radio the way that you want to do ham radio, and let's not judge other people for how they want to do ham radio.
Yep.
If people want to go out there and just make like a quick 20-minute activation, and if they want to just do like digital activation, and maybe this person is just, maybe they're a paper chaser, they want that award, they want to be the king of the park, whatever it is that they want to, just boost their numbers, then, more power to them.
Yep.
They're obviously getting something out of it, right? So if you're getting something out of it, then more power to you.
Yeah.
Maybe it's
100%.
not your thing. I know plenty of POTA activators that they don't even call CQ POTA. They just want to go in the park, be under the sunshine with their antenna in a tree, and lay back on their blanket and like hunt people and just rag chew, you know?
Yep.
So,
Although I don't know about bringing a blanket, but yeah. I
well,
like to operate from a chair.
yeah, I mean, you could be in a chair at a picnic table, wherever or whatever or however you want to activate. That's up to you. And you might
100%.
you might do a mix, which I think is, sort of like what we're saying here, right? Like, some maybe if you have time, you're going to go out and do a whole big setup. But maybe if you don't have time, but you still have that ham radio itch, you're going to go out and just do a quick activation.
Sure. Yeah, all good stuff. So let's kind of dive into this. I want to tear this apart a little bit. So this is something for me that I'm kind of toying with, and I kind of like the idea because for those that are into the emergency preparedness kind of stuff with Aries and whatnot, that they're very much about the deployability. Like, how quick can we get something out to be able to get set up to be able to do whatever we need to do for the emergency at hand? Um, I'm trying to kind of adapt that a little bit to POTA in general for me. Like, I mean, obviously, those have seen the videos on my channel with the truck. Yeah, a lot of the capabilities for being able to do quick deployment is sort of built into the overall product of what I've built. But I'm always looking for faster ways, so I'm not I'm spending more time on the radio side more than I am doing on the setup side because I think I'm a pretty seasoned POTA activator in the sense that I get out and I know my gear and I know what's going on. The interest is no longer for or let's just say the excitement is no longer about me deploying the antenna or setting it up. It's more like I know like what I need to do. Me, it's like, okay, now I'm set up. Let's just get on the air. Let's have some fun. Let's have conversations. Everything you kind of described. Let's do quick pileups. Let's do rag chews. Let's do everything in between. I think that for me is the excitement part of it, and it helps me, kind of break up that day. So, kind of the three key areas is obviously we already touched upon this is that the portable stuffs are getting easier to do. We're all kind of optimizing. Everybody's got a Go Kit. And, we have the Go Kit challenge that's coming up. I think down I don't remember what's in Florida. That I'm going to see those coming soon. We're seeing a lot more people building Go Kits quickly for portable setups and going all over that and getting all of those cleaned up as we start to get more into the spring summer months. And the fact that we've got little time on our hands because all of us are living, our lives and doing other things and trying to juggle all that. And you couple that with the spotting page, dude, that's like a perfect mix for a micro activation. I mean, you literally don't have to do. You're not calling for 5-10 hours. So like last week we talked about stealth spotting. This week we're just we're encouraging. This is in this micro activations kind of model here. It's about trying to optimize every little bit of, the juice is worth the squeeze, as they kind of say, with all of these components. So as long as you're trying to build all of this into your micro activation kind of kit, then, you're going to get out there, you're going to deploy, you're going to make contacts, you're going to play radio, which is where I think my biggest focus is in this whole kind of scenario is that get out, play radio, use the mic, play CW, do digital, whatever be the case. And do it efficiently and try to always keep pushing that bar a little bit more in that direction. So let's go talk about some of the pros and cons for the efficiency side of things. Because I feel like Mike brought up that point. I just saw his comment in the chat saying efficiency is not convenience or not equal to convenience. I think is what he posted. If you got that in there, Shannon, you can pop it back up again. So that kind of boils us onto the efficiency argument side of like really to all of us, what is POTA? Because POTA we know, like Shannon said, it's many things to many people, and with that, this might rub you the wrong way a little bit. It might make you think, oh man, this is not what I call. Sorry, we're going to do an 80 meter. This is not what I call, POTA, activations here, kind of thing. This is not the 80 meter net. We're all comfortable with, all of different facets that POTA brings. So, there is obviously some good arguments for the efficiency side of things. And I'm going to give you three of them here. Obviously, it's going to get you into good operating, skill and good acumen. I mean, you're going to know how to be able to, call CQ. You're going to know how to be able to manage a little bit of the pileups. This is not something per se for a new POTA activator to kind of get out and try, although you could. But you probably already have a skill set like Shannon and others have developed that, you know how to handle your pileup. You know how to call CQ. You know what wording and linking connection, stuff, both your logging and your radio and all of that stuff. All of those pieces all help in doing good operating with that. And then once you kind of get going, that the system kind of feeds itself, and you start getting pileups and stuff like that. And so with it, you're being efficient, and then maybe that might read out to that you're activating more parks. So here's a thought with this: is that we all like to activate our favorite parks. I mean, Shannon, you've got a couple of your own, right, that you frequently go to?
Oh yeah, well, I have US 2445 Lynn Beach, what is it? Lynn Shore Drive, Nahant Reservation is 3 miles from my house. So I mean, it takes me like, what, 5-10 minutes to drive down there, get set up. That's actually where I brought Miles for his POTA activation. Even though I already have a kilo there, so I'm trying not to go there myself because I want to get a kilo at a different location. But since Miles was using a club call, then I was like, okay, well, we'll help this club call get more activations, or, get an
Contacts,
activation
yep.
and some contacts at that park. But, it's like, so now I've been branching out into like Willowdale State Forest over in Ipswich, or Great Brook Farm in Carlisle, or Minuteman National Park, which, those parks are all probably about 45 minutes to an hour away from me. Um, but I like them better than there is like this one in Salem, which is like a maritime museum national park that's like a tiny little port. And the thing is that it's not that convenient, right? Like, it doesn't have great parking. I think they only have on-street parking. So then, it's going to be hard if you want to activate from the car and you have to put the magmon on top of the car. If you want to bring the gear, out into the park, it's I don't know if they have any picnic tables. Um, it's an urban environment, so there's probably still a lot of noise floor. So it's not my first choice in trying to do a POTA activation.
Right. Yeah,
And
and
it's like
it,
it goes into the water, right? Because it's like it's a port. It was docked. So then I got to worry about, like, is Miles gonna fall into the ocean also? So these are all
yes.
considerations.
Very much so. I believe. I can imagine it's very different in the I'm doing this on my own versus bringing another family member who needs still a watchful eye every once in a while. So, yeah, I mean, Shannon kind of hit the nail on the head. I mean, obviously, when you're doing parks, you're doing it for many different reasons and many different kind of goals that you're setting for yourself. The one thing that kind of pours out of being efficient in this process is that you're activating obviously more parks because you have the capabilities to get deployed faster in, say, a newer park that you may not have frequented often. And so, like where Shannon said she's already got a kilo at one and she wants to try to do it at a couple others, yeah, there's a process or ramp up to getting to those places that you might have to, change your kit around a little so you're more efficient in getting it deployed and up and running. But that once again just adds to that toolkit of being efficient in being able to deploy. I think Tortoise said in the chat a little earlier, It's kind of a preparation for getting deployed in the case of emergency. For me, yes, I think it is. I mean, the skills you're learning is 100% on the mark with that. But POTA for me is not really so much about like the crossover between POTA and Aries or POTA in an emergency situation, because a lot of times if you look at my kit, my kits are not always 100% efficient in the sense of like what's in them, because I just keep adding versus taking the time to sort through them a lot, which again is something that I need to keep learning to work towards. And I don't always have like the said radio bags. Like I know a lot of Aries guys that are like, oh, this radio bag is for this specific function, this bag is for this specific function, then I have a general bag. POTA I think just kind of allows us to just create this we'll say crockpot scenario of of our kits and our go bags and stuff like that, because it's just a whole mix of different things that all different work for different scenarios, because we've got a wider base to have to take in consideration too. So all good stuff. And the last part I think is really cool is that the hunters get to benefit from you by being efficient. So if you're rolling to many more parks, you're getting deployed, you're able to do like say two activations, two micro activations in the middle of the day. Hunters are going to be are much happier to work you, because now they're keeping an eye out for you. They're putting you on hammer alert. They're watching you hit the spotting page more often, and you're giving them more opportunities to be able to reach their own goals for whatever those goals might be. So yeah, it's kind of a win-win-win as we're kind of thinking. And so I'm stretching you guys a little bit in the sense that you know trying some of these techniques are going to get you bigger dividends in the long run as POTA activators, because if you're like me, sometimes you just settle into doing POTA and you know your routine well and it's comfortable. But hey, let's try to improve and try to be better operators and try to just expand our knowledge with the purposes of being in that bucket of efficiency and a better operator. All right. Anything in the chat we want to throw in there, Shannon?
No, just who was it that just said someone from their club was activating tomorrow, and I should have started, but
Mm-hmm.
I okay. Yeah, it
Got
was
it.
Toby AD2CD said several of us from NJECT Club will be activating tomorrow from 10 to 4, special event for National Inventors Day, N2I, will be at US 1615 Thomas Edison Memorial State Park, multiple bands.
Oh, very cool. All
And
right.
then, Lasered 35OH said activating more convenient and therefore frequent activations is what made me better. The idea of POTA isn't to simply practice ham, it is to bring patronage to our national parks. The more the better, which I do agree with, right? So
Yeah.
if I did not do POTA, I would never have visited that Fort McCleary State Park, because I wouldn't have really had a reason to, but because I was driving by, I saw the state park. I was like, I wanted to do a POTA. It was a nice day. We stopped. It was a super cool place, besides the fact that they happened to be having that Civil War reenactment there that day. So it was like I got 3 fun for the price of 1, because I got to see that cool building that I
Mm-hmm.
filmed an interior walkthrough of. I got to see the Civil War reenactment, and Miles was running around with the other kids that were there as part of the reenactment. And I got to do radio.
Yeah.
So, and all of it with this beautiful view of the ocean. And I'm sure there are so many other state park hidden gems like that we could be going out and finding as ham radio operators. And also, we're finding the state parks, but we're also bringing ham radio to the people, right? Because people are walking by and they're, asking us, like, what are you doing? Are you listening to bats? Are you tracking birds? Da, da, da. And then you're like, no, I'm just talking to somebody from Italy. What are you doing today?
I
So
know.
then you get
Yeah,
to
it's
tell them
casual.
about, then you get to tell them about ham radio and, what you're doing. And then, people are like, I didn't know people still did that.
Yep.
Or, the most times I ever get people commenting is when I'm at that Willowdale State Forest in Ipswich. And I don't know if it's just because it's a main road and the parking lot is right there, but I had like at least two people last Tuesday, I think it was, um, come by and you know, I the one guy he drove by and he was like, "Oh, who are we talking to today?" So, I asked him, I was
Very
like,
cool.
"Oh, are you licensed?" Da, da, da. And I think he said no. And I was like, "Well, if you want to be licensed, here, take a card." So I gave him, one of my cards. But something about that location is very visible and people feel comfortable stopping there and chatting. It's like every time I'm there, at least one person stops.
Yep. Yeah, I have the same similar scenario. Like there's up in Maine when we're up there. I usually try to do two lights in where is it? Just outside of Scarborough or Portland area. Beautiful views. I mean, literally, it's the lighthouse is all up and down the main coastline. But that park, I think, is 2412. I think is the park number. And it's like it's basically one of those lighthouses that also had the command post for the Cold War dotting the line, of all of the lighthouses and command bunkers there for protection of the coastline from the Cold War anyway. But long story short is that I'll sit up there on a park bench, and they've got a lot of like winding trails, and there's just a spot there that people just always walk by, and it's they always stop, but then they do the same thing as you described. They're like, "Oh, hey, what are you doing?" That whole conversation, and you just kind of just have fun with it. And of course, being on the ocean, you have like, direct line access to DX all over in Europe and stuff like that. So like, you hear France, you'll hear, Germany, you'll hear all of those stations, and people are just like, wow, that's, an amazing thing. So it's very cool and fun to do. Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about the other side of the coin. So we talked about efficiency. Let's talk about the derived by concern because, I'm sure very much, folks that don't like to do these short, efficient type activations. This is kind of like falls into that like, you know, just to kind of get it done and over with kind of approach. It's not really like one of those things that you're really doing to enjoy the hobby. You're just kind of getting content contacts and moving on. So there's obviously when it comes to this stuff, a few operators might feel like this. You get 10 contacts, you get off and you're off and moving on. I mean, we do that a lot with the roves, which is understandable because we know that you have a following as you're going up and down, those parks to activate them. But, if you're just doing one park a day and you do 10 and you're off, yeah, it could be a little insulting and not like really like ham radio per se because you're not enjoying the experience. And you're definitely doing less experimenting. So you might be just focusing on one band or one mode. You're not bouncing around. You're not, stretching your knowledge a bit. And it gives out that less, those less vibes of the hangout on the frequency appeal. Like we all have, and we had a show a while back where we talked about our favorite hunters that hunt us all. The Bruces, the others. I mean, Shannon's raffled off a bunch of call signs and people that she's worked consistently that hunt her out all the time. You kind of lose that interaction and you lose that capability because you're not allowing enough of an opportunity for people to find you that may be a little late to hunting you because not everybody's sitting in front of the POTA.app spotting page waiting to click the next hunter that they're going to work. So yeah, so that's the other side of the thing. I mean, yeah, it can definitely lose some of its hangout on the frequency kind of feel. All right, so with that, we've got probably this is a short topic for us today, but the last piece of this kind of is the digital only activation. Now, there is a core group of people out there that's all they do. I know N1OG for the longest time, that's all he would do was digital modes. And it can be super efficient to do this, especially in where we're having these solar, flare-ups and issues in the atmosphere being angry. Digital modes can be a great way to still go out there and play POTA and do it in a short burst. But at the same time, it might be that difference between people are running FT8 activations, get in, get out, and get done, which, we all know FT8 as the, computer to computer language, as I'm told. And so, from that standpoint, you might not always get a chance to, have that social interaction like you do when you're, say, on, running a phone pile up, or, you're doing something in CW, or whatever else. So, for those that do those, this might be one of those kind of things. You're just, you do this because it's fun, because you have a lunch break and you want to get out and activate, and you can do digital from, a park bench or your car or whatever. But yeah, it's very different in between doing a digital activation and, say, a voice activation. There's definitely, it's pros and cons for both. And we're all in the circle of trust here. So we're all like, we all love our FT8 brothers and sisters just as much as we love all of our voice brothers and sisters. So, it is something to obviously bring to the attention of the fact that, digital activations are kind of one of these things that fall into a fast efficiency type activation. Any comments on that, Shannon?
Um, no, like like I said, however people want to do ham radio, then that's up to you, or up to them. So, it maybe people are mic shy, right?
Yep.
So, don't, they don't feel comfortable getting on the air on sideband, so they just want to do, FT8 or other digital modes. They do say
Yep.
that, like, FT8 is a weak signal mode, not a weak power mode, but I do think that it can get through a little bit better if you're QRP. So maybe if, you only have a radio that's 5 or 10 watts, then, that might be better suited to something like FT8. And here's the thing, right? People choose to activate only in CW. Why don't we give them the same poo poo as people like to give to people that only do FT8,
Yeah.
So,
I
they're both digital, right?
Yes, they are. We have a
CW
T-shirt in the store,
C,
liftfreeham.com/shop.
CW is the original digital mode.
Yep, that is in the storefront. It's called Digital Life. So actually, Laser 350 said something interesting that I thought was kind of a good point. He says, "Does speed and efficiency not always equate to a high level ham skill?" In my mind, I would say that's debatable, because you can develop bad habits in trying to be more efficient that just make it harder for you to do something. And you might find that you might have to adjust more often when things don't always go your way. So, like, you get an example would be like, I always go activate 20 meters with my vertical at a park all the time. It just works the way it is. I'm efficient at that. And then guess what? You run into a solar storm and 20 meters is dead as a doornail or super staticky. Well, how do you pivot? How do you adjust? You to be efficient means to use everything to your availability in a way that you can optimize it for whatever the scenario is. So, being able to jump to 15, being able to do 10, going to other modes is definitely something you want to add. Like, I don't have CW skills. I have it on my bucket list. It's something in the future I want to do. It's way down at the bottom, but yes, I will eventually need to have that as a skill set, because God forbid I forget to bring my laptop and I can't do FT8, so I, have to consider doing something like that. Or even other modes, say like FL Digi, and doing, keyboard to keyboard with JS8 call. Those modes are all available to us. And I know there are a lot of operators who aren't efficient at that. I'm one of them. And, that I think is something to be consider in your whole POTA kit there, and think in the long run. The funny thing with CW, and I just learned this, and maybe I was just late to the game on it, but CW operators, they do like 10 contacts and they move on. They don't like go for long lengths of time. They're a lot like the soda guys. Like, they get their 5 contacts, 6 contacts, a couple more, and then they're done. They pack it up and move on. Like, I find that very weird. That, and they don't also give the park numbers either. Like, did you know that?
I think I did know that in CW the park number is not a standard part of the exchange. But actually in POTA, if you look at what the required exchange is, I don't think the park number is ever part of the
No,
required
it's not.
exchange.
Somehow it's been
And
adopted in the voice world as it needed to be.
well, I guess people want to know like where you're activating from, right? And
You paper
so
loggers.
if you listen, okay, don't be pooping
I know.
on my paper log. Um, so maybe that should be the next T-shirt. Don't poop on my paper log. But
Gonna wipe my ass
so
with your paper log.
I guess like by giving the park number, that does give a better indication of where you're operating from. Although some parks are very large or some parks are trails, so they could go for, probably hundreds or thousands of miles. Like I think the Appalachian Trail is a park, right? So in some ways that doesn't quite work out. But I like to give the park number. But then when I was doing the YLWWA, people were giving me the park number. And like I said, I didn't have anywhere to log it because I was live logging on that Ham Awards site. So I was just kind of like, thanks for the park number. I'm not logging it, but the POTA app system will match us up anyway.
Yep.
But, again, like, why not take a few minutes while you're doing that POTA activation? You could tell people about the park that you're at. Why is this park special? This park was the first national park in the United States, or this park is famous for this, or whatever. It's like when people do special event stations, but then they run it like a contest and they don't actually talk anything about the special event. I like to talk. Did you guys know that I like to talk?
Both you and I,
I
obviously, that we are the examples of the reason why we're doing a live stream on this. But yeah,
I like to tell people random facts that maybe they didn't know that they wanted to know, but now they know. So, I like to share information and knowledge. I like when people share information and knowledge with me. So, I think I think taking the time to talk a little bit about where you are and why you're there, it adds to the flavor of ham radio.
yep, it does. People are curious. I mean, why do we ask all the time when we're on repeaters? Hey, what are you running for gear, or where's the QTH, or where are you in your kind of travels? Because we're curious. That's just kind of the nature of things. So yeah, I agree, 100%.
Yeah, I like to
Although
know about people's stations too, like especially when people come in and they have these like really loud booming signals. I want to know like what is your antenna, what is your radio, what is your power, or when people come back and they say that they're QRP, and they especially if they're QRP and they sound pretty good, like, again, I want to know what is your radio, what is your antenna, where are you located?
yep. Yeah, and there's a few things. Laser said, "Spirit of Poto is not to be taken as contest." Yeah, 100%. We all know, it is a delicate balance. We all have to, understand that we're not there just for the multipliers and the contest aspect of it. It can feel like a contest, especially if you're used to that. But at the same time, you can also slow it down. It's like Shannon, and we've said it in several other episodes. You set them you set the dance of how you want your activation to run. So whether you want it drink by the fire hose, or you want to have a casual afternoon chat, that's all you and how you want to run your activation. So very cool.
So
All
I
right.
just want to throw out there, Ham Without a Plan said the park is only part of a park to park. Even for a park to park contact, you do not have to give the park number. You don't even have to tell the other activator that you are in a park. As soon as you upload your log to the POTA app website, as long as the timestamps of the two contacts are within, I think, about 15 minutes. So
Yep.
it's a pretty generous leeway there for your logging time. The system will automatically match up and say, okay, you guys were both in a park at the same time and you made contact with each other. That is a park to park. So just keep that in mind. But, that doesn't mean you have to, stop. You don't have to stop giving the park numbers. You don't have to start giving the park numbers. But if you
And you
don't get the
you
park,
don't have to get into an argument either with the other park to park saying,
yeah,
I don't have to give you like just
yeah,
be kind.
yes, yes. So, don't stress it if you didn't get the park number, or if, there's a lot of QSB and fading, and we know what happens when you're
Yep.
out there, and you might only catch the call sign. I think the call sign is literally the only thing that you have to log for POTA. You don't even have to log the signal reports.
I'll be first to admit I have. Once I learned that we didn't signal reports weren't important. I don't know when that was, like several years ago or a year or two ago, and I just don't even like. I'll give people someone a signal report verbally because there are people that like to have that, but I'll be like, my log all shows 5 9s all the time. Like I don't change that at all. So no problems there. But yeah, that I understand. Very that it's hard habits to break when it comes to doing it one way and then realize, oh no, you never really had to do that from the beginning. It just was kind of natural for people to just do that as part of an exchange. So, and we as hams, we love acronyms and we love weird nomenclature when we get to pass that over the radio. So that's why.
If I have time, then I will give people true signal reports. But like when I was doing the YLWWA, I didn't really have a lot of time because I had pileups a lot. And sometimes the signal reports aren't accurate, right? And I think we've gone over this before, here or in other places, where the signal report is subjective, right? Because depending on if you have your preamp off, if you have amp 1 on, if you have amp 2 on, you're going to get 3 different signal strengths. If you have automatic gain control, you're going to get a different signal strength. If you have digital noise reduction, you're going to get a different signal strength. So the signal report is sort of subjective and kind of doesn't really mean anything, but I do think it is helpful for people to know how well they're being heard. But if I have to ask you like 3 times for your call sign,
It's not a
then
five
I
nine.
can't, yeah, I can't really give you a 5 9 on that. Like you might be like a 4 or a 3. Other numbers besides 5 do exist for that first number.
That's actually an interesting question. I thought, let me go grab that here real quick. What is the spirit of POTA? I don't know. What, like, throw it in the chat what you think it is, but Shannon, I'm curious what you think that means to you.
Well, I mean, I think my idea of the spirit of POTA is, pretty well known, is to basically bring ham radio out of the basements, out of the shack, and bring it into the public eye where, we as ham radio operators can get out into the sunshine and see the light, and also other people can see ham radio in action. And if they've never seen it before, they can learn a little bit about it. And, a lot of people, like I said, they come up and they're like, oh, my dad used to do that. My grandfather used to do that. My uncle used to do that. All these people that, they saw doing ham radio in the past, and they're like, I didn't know people still did that. Or people who came up to me and they were like, oh yeah, I got my license like 20 years ago and I renewed it twice, but I haven't really used it that much. I used to talk on this repeater, but then this repeater was gone and I never found another repeater to talk on. Or, oh, you're talking to somebody in Austria from Massachusetts with 100 watts and that vertical antenna over there. That's so cool.
Yep. Yeah.
Um, and then that goes to like, there's people that are out there and they're doing satellites, right? So I was trying to, explain to Miles the other day about, one reason why ham radio is still so important and relevant in today's day and age is, look at everything that we're trying to do with space travel right now. I mean, we still have rovers on Mars. We're trying to, send astronauts to, slingshot around the moon and stuff. How do we communicate with those people? How are we getting information to and from the Mars rover? It's through radio waves and radio frequencies. And the way that we practice those skills and grow those skills and learn more about how radio works is through amateur radio. So, I think that's one reason why satellites have become so popular, especially for younger people and people who are very interested in space and space exploration and the ISS, is because those skills are going to be very important in the coming years with, the more space exploration and travel that we're doing.
Yeah, I agree. 100% across the board. I think the spirit of ham radio is obviously what you make it, but at the same time, it is um, the allowing folks to, get away from just doing one sliver or one thing. Like I'm only a CW operator or I'm only a contester. POTA, the spirit of POTA for me is like, hey, everybody can come play and everybody can have an opportunity to bring their flavor of radio to POTA and do it however they like. And the awesome part about that community is that everybody shares. Like there's not like a hidden like, oh, I can't tell you how my secret sauce is. I'm more than willing to share, and people are more than willing to share different styles of how they operate, and what their favorite antennas are and feed lines and all of those things that we all love as ham radio operators. And then that just kind of oozes beyond that, and that goes out to the general public that come by and see all the action and see how excited you are, and see the whole aspect of like what is all that crazy noise that they're seeing coming out of this small little thing over there in the corner, which then opens the doors to everything like Shannon said, space stuff, radio, and all the craziness that our generation didn't really get to invent and play in, but at the same time we get to experience the benefits of, which is really cool. Yeah, there were a couple things in there in the starred section. I think Laser said or actually Bricker was pointing out really quickly that in the 5.9 world, I think he's got something going here. He should start developing code and writes a module for this, maybe a black box. Hey, if we can definitely let people come up with a way you can send a 5.9 automatically through your radio, I think I'd use that button often. I mean, heck, I use my daughter's recorded voice as an emergency break glass thing. So why not just have a 5.9 button all the time that just sends them a 5.9 digitally?
It's like the easy button from Staples.
Yes,
That
yes,
was
that's
easy.
it. That's
That was
perfect.
5.9.
Yeah, we should. I'm sure Staples has a bunch of those sitting over the corner because they don't sell them anymore or give them away. We should just convert the voices that was 5.9. That was 5.9.
No,
That
you
was
know
fine.
what's funny is, so Miles's teacher showed him this the other day and showed me this. She got these buttons that I guess you're supposed to use them to like train your dog. Like the
Yes,
dog
I
presses the
have
green
mine.
button and it's like food please. Food,
Mhm.
please. So you can record your own voice on those buttons. So we could get these buttons. We need to figure out how to brand them. Live free and ham,
That's
and
easy
be
enough.
like, "Thank you, 5.9. Thank you, five
Thank you.
nine.
You're wonderful. Thank you, 5.9. You're wonderful. Thank you, 5.9. Yeah, there we go. We got something going here.
We can
It'll be
record
available in
them
the
with
store next week.
we can record it with my voice saying CQ.
Oh no, no, dude,
If you
we have to
want
charge a
Shannon
premium for that.
if you want a Shannon CQ button,
That's very
visit
cool.
Live
So
Free and Ham store.
there you go. We've got an idea. We're brewing. All right. So Prep Hand Paul
And it's
said really
called
quick.
Brew Activate, right?
Exactly. Spirit of Parks in the Air goes way beyond just making contacts. It's about connecting people, nature, and radio, and it's simple. Well put there, Paul. Appreciate that. And Laser said that the non-contest spirit of radio is what gave me confidence to activate often. When I was in New Ham, my pileup would only be able to go as fast as I allowed it, which is perfect speed. You do your activation the way you like to do them, and you're going to build that confidence eventually. You finally get that POTA muscle that you see all of these amazing activators that are out there doing it every day, and you can do it in your own style, which is pretty cool. All right, so let's put a little wrap to this here. So, just in a nutshell, I'm going to say at the end of the day, microactivations, they're not right or wrong, guys. In essence, it's just one more thing you can try. And I'm kind of broadening your horizon to think just out of like, hey, this is how you do POTA and this is how I've learned. And I'm just going to kind of stay stuck in that mode. Expand, grow that experience and that efficiency a little bit more. They're not right or wrong, like I said, but it's just another way people adapt to this hobby and to their lives. I mean, that's the big thing is like, don't the one thing I learned as a ham 30 years ago is that people take a break from the hobby because their life just gets in the way and they don't know how to do that balance well. So let's try to adapt how we can continue to bring ham radio still in our lives, and in a way that does a balance and it doesn't take one over another, or doesn't lose on the ham radio side, and because your other personal life is trying to take over more of that. Find ways to integrate. I mean, Shannon obviously did that with getting Miles there, activating his first park. That can branch out to, hey mom, I want a radio for Christmas, and from so forth and so on. So you never know. But really, it's just the question here today is: are you just making contacts, or are you enjoying the process? Because what is Izzo and everybody say? What's the three-letter word that we all like to make sure we do in ham radio?
Fun.
Yeah, fun. You fun with the question? Come on, don't you know that? It's the only short of it putting on a T-shirt. you know, so maybe we have to, because you asked it in the question. But hey, if you're doing both of those today, I want to applaud you, because you're doing POTA right in my book. And again, it's how you do POTA in your way, in your uniqueness, and it's cool, because in essence, well, maybe one day this will start to get some more traction, and people will start to see some of these more pop up as kind of norm, and then we'll be having another conversation. How we do a little differently. How do we get more efficient, or how do we you fill in the blank, and we'll kind of go from there. So yeah, it's fun, and I enjoy having these discussions. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying these topics. Let me know. And you can always head over to our Discord, and contribute over there and Brew and Activate, because it is 3 minute, yes, 3 minute activations. If you've got a good pile going and you got a good following, we have done a few. When we did that 7 park road with Todd, by the time we get to our 4th park, we literally, we didn't even have 2 seconds to set up the radio, and people are already looking for us. So yeah, those are awesome when you can do those very efficiently. But at the same time,
I would have to guess, with a name like Da Did It Da Da, that
sure,
is a CW user. So I mean, yeah, you can get those CW contacts pretty quickly,
yep,
depending on how quick of a words per
they've
minute
got
you're
it easy.
using. But yeah, I mean, micro activations aren't right or wrong, and there is no there. If you're doing ham radio, you're not doing it right or wrong. You're just doing it, right? And
Yep,
like you said, if you're having fun, then you're doing it right. If it's not fun, then don't do it. Why are we doing it?
yeah, 100%.
But I like the other shirt. Ham radio makes me feel dumb every day, and that's okay,
Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that one.
because
Available
as
over in the Grouch store.
yeah, again, as long as you're learning something new, then, learn something new every day. Whether it's ham radio related, tank related, British social history related,
Or stuck in New England related, whatever. Oh
knitting related.
my gosh. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, today was a good topic. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I know I definitely had fun putting it together. And we're just building here, guys. So, we're going to get into some more crazy stuff, as we can go deeper down the rabbit hole of POTA and all the stuff. And if you got maybe a topic you want us to cover, or there's something, you picked up from the last episode, that, maybe we need to dive in a little deeper, please, head on over to the Discord. Let us know over in Brew and Activate chat, and in the channel, I should say, and yeah, we'll add it to the list there, and get to dissect that a little bit, and tear into it, because that's what we love to do over here at Brew and Activate. And so, yeah, hopefully this is something you guys love, and please share and spread the love on this one, because we always love to get more POTA folks here, and be part of it. And if you can't, obviously send them the link to the podcast format, so they can catch all the great aspect and fun anytime in their favorite podcast app. So, all right. Well, with that, I think we are good today. I had fun. How about you, Shannon?
Of course, if we weren't having fun, we wouldn't keep doing this show. Isn't that what we just talked about?
Yes, we did. I thank you for the robot voice and sounding like you were part of AI. All right. Well, with that, let's put a little bow here and close things out. So, yeah, hopefully these topics were a good fit for you guys and you learned a little something today. Like I said, head over to the Discord. Let us know what you kind of picked out of it. And if you got anything, please contribute and let us know, and we'll definitely dive into. Excuse me about that. And
Yeah,
so,
and don't forget to join us tonight for Northeast
yes,
Ham Radio, happy hour live stream where we'll probably have more fun, talk more about ham radio, and maybe I'll share some more tank facts.
maybe in her she shed. Yes, and please find and seek Shannon out on Discord regularly and send her a lovely, hey, how you doing, lady? Also, don't forget the YL live stream. We need to get her on moving on that because, there's I'm going to push hard on that because I think there is definitely a need for UYLs to have a stage and a place to hang out, and all of us, OMs can learn more about how to do aspects of the hobby that we're so kind of stuck in our mindset. Have a different viewpoint. You guys shared some really good knowledge and throw down some really good stuff, but at the same time, we were just really cool, and I'm sure it's a much needed area. So get on it, girlfriend.
Yes, boss.
Yep.
We will get on the monthly YL live stream. I need to figure out, probably it's going to have to be like either a Friday night or a Saturday night because it's got to be a night when Miles doesn't have school because if it's going to be at night. Um, and then I got to find where my YL's at, who wants to be on the show. I think we need a YL Discord, to be honest. I am a confirmed Discord addict. I don't know about any of you
Yeah, I know
guys,
you're
but
hard to get, but anyway.
I'm in at least like 57 Discords, and they range anywhere from Rust, video gaming, knitting, crocheting, ham radio, my own two random discords of one of them which arised from Rust and gaming, and one of them which arised from just having friends and gaming and watching TV shows together. So
You're giving Bricker anxiety there. Too many discords.
yeah, you don't even want to see my Discord window. I've had to put servers into folders to try to
Oh,
organize them, but then I just like give up on organizing them and they're just like spreading out everywhere.
yep.
It's
I
kind of
can
like when
understand that.
somebody has too many tabs on top of their web browser and
Never
like
can
you
have too
see
many
it
tabs.
and it just like, your heart stops for a minute because their tabs are so short you can't even read what the tab is anymore.
Hmm.
It's a good
I'm
thing
with you.
I know what my Discord server pictures are. I know where to go when I want to talk to certain people or hang out
Yeah,
with
and
certain
just if
people.
you would ever need to get a hold of Shannon, just add her because there's no other way you can get her because she gets so much noise. It's ridiculous.
Yes, if you really want to talk to me, you have to either at me or you have to just send me a DM.
Hmm. And even then, you have to add her in the DMs to get her attention because she just ignores you. But anyway, that's
Or,
just my personal experience.
or I might just be ignoring you because I don't want to
Yeah,
answer you about
okay.
setting up the She Shed and the YL monthly
Hmm.
live stream, but there you go.
Oh boy, that's impressive there. All right. Well, with that, as always, thanks again for hanging out on Brew and Activate. So, whether you're activating or hunting, the goal's simple: have fun, stay safe, keep exploring, and until next time, Shannon,
Keep the
keep your
radio
radios
on,
on, the
the push
PTT
to talk
down,
down, and
and
POTA
POTA
on.
on. Robot voice. Thank you.